would go from sitting in the doctor's chair, speaking to a patient at say 4 p.m. and at 4:30 p.m. I run across the road to get bloods done as a patient who's just lost a pregnancy. And it's so crazy to think that that's how I functioned for months and years, because I worked in Melbourne City, and I had the medical clinic was opposite the hospital I worked in. So yes, it was convenient for me, but people didn't know what I was doing.
Hey beautiful, this is Vivienne, and welcome back to the 100 Successful Women, a Conversation to Inspire series. Today is a very special episode, not only because we got our incredible guest that I am going to introduce to you today, but also because today is episode number 80, another milestone achieved I wanted to celebrate with you all. I'm so honored to share this milestone with Dr. Monica Devanand, a former medical doctor turned award-winning speaker, coach, and author who is transforming the way we think about change, well-being, and leadership. Monica's journey has been powerful. She was starting from navigating chronic illness and pregnancy loss to building not only one, but two thriving businesses. She's now helping women cultivate meaningful habits, regulate their nervous system, and create impact without burning out. If you ever felt like you're constantly starting over or that success required self-sacrifice, this episode is going to shift your perspective. And also, during my conversation with Dr. Monica, we just found out that she's also from Malaysia. So that's something that I feel connected with her as well. Without further ado, let's dive into episode number 80 and celebrate both bold reinvention and grounded success with the incredible Dr. Monica Devanand.
Hey, Monica, I'm so excited to have you. How have you been today so far?
Thank you, Vivienne. It's been good. It's been a good week so far. It's only Tuesday, but it's good. And thank you for having me here this morning. Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying yes to be one of the guests of the 100 Successful Women. And I know Monica has been such an amazing woman. She has so many stories to tell, and I can't wait to pick her brain. Thank you, Monica, for being here with us.
Thank you, Vivienne.
I know Monica did say that she watched some of the episode. So if you do watch the episode, maybe you know what's my first question. I know that you have been through a lot of journey. You are a writer, you are an entrepreneur, of course you are a mom, and you play many roles in your life. Despite all these roles that you're playing, different hats that you're wearing, Monica, who is Monica at your core?
Okay. So yes, I have listened to a few episodes and I knew this question was coming, but I also tried not to, sort of prepare too much, because I know things, this conversation will just go as needed. But a little disclaimer before I start is I might have a bit of a tear or two or a few more, because that's just my, when I tell stories, it comes from the heart. So you might, have moments with me where I shed a few tears. But I think, and thank you, Vivienne, for that introduction. And yes, I am a mom of two girls, and I am a business owner, and I'm a wife, and I do a few other things in my community as well. And that question, who am I at the core, I suppose, it's one of those things that you think about when you are writing a letter to your younger self, that dear 20-year-old me, you are still there. Like, that sort of, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. And at the core, I am a person that really enjoys quality relationships. And I really enjoy getting to know people. I'm very curious, and I love a good laugh, and you will know when I'm laughing because I laugh really loudly. And I do a big belly laugh, and you'll see my hands go all over the place. So at the core, I'm someone who loves fun, and adventure and really being with people. That is something that I've always enjoyed, even as a little girl, going through school and just reflecting on my school years, my university years, moving countries. It's always been me wanting to be with people that I guess want to be around me, but I really enjoy that quality relationships. Yeah.
Wow, I love that you keep your curiosity, because like a lot of people when they grow older, they tend to lose that curiosity. And I love that you being able to laugh out loud. And I also love that you mentioned something, that writing a letter to your younger self. And that's such a big aha moment for many of us, because we tend to forget that little girl, that younger self, and you have been able to keep that core value of yourself and laugh out loud. That's such a great thing to do. We just need the laugh in our life, which
That's
we
right.
tend to forget.
We do, yeah. And I think just, we all know how much pressure life can put on us, and the challenges, and everyone has their own challenges and stories. And I think sometimes we forget that. And that little girl in us doesn't disappear. She's always there, and it really is something that I've been very intentional about as I've gone through a few different challenges, to always come back to that. Who is that girl in there? What is that light in there wanting me to come back to? And I think it's a good thing for us to do at every couple of years, every few months up. I guess it's a very individual thing. But sometimes people would do it at big milestones, like maybe when they turn 30 or 40. And but for me, I've done it many times. And this is another thing that I am doing for my kids, is I write them a letter. They don't know about it, but it's I guess a compilation, and I don't sort of set myself a time at which I'm going to write it, but I like to write a letter every year or year and a half, just to tell them what they were like at this point in their life. And I think it will be such a beautiful gift for me as a mom to give to them at some point, maybe at their 18th or 21st, I don't know. But I think it's such a nice thing, especially I think when women do it for other women, or moms do it for their kids. It's nice to have that little reminder of who they once were.
Oh, wow. That's such a great idea. And I think I should be doing that as well. And for the moms out there, I think it's such a great gift, like you say, when they grow up, and which I wish I have that letter of myself as well, when where even though writing a letter to ourselves as well when we were younger. And at different stages of our life, we wish to have that letter that we can read when we grow older, to remember that stage of our life or that moment of our life.
Yeah. And it actually started for me, and we might go down this path at some point in this conversation, but it started for me when I was going through a period of wanting to have my next child. So after we had baby number one, we were wanting to grow our family, and I had multiple pregnancy losses. And it got to a point where I felt that people were not acknowledging the fact that I had just lost a pregnancy. And so I started to write letters to my unborn babies. And that's how it started. And, and those babies will never see those letters. But for me, it was such a coping a moment as well. But I then thought to myself, how about I write letters for my two beautiful girls that I now am blessed to be a mom to, and share that with them at some point.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that moment, Monica. It's such a beautiful things, and it's a great time for you to reflect back as well.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that you've been through a lot in your life, and one of the things is that you actually had a background in medical doctor.
Yes.
Wow, and you did a major career shift from being a
Yes.
medical doctor to now building two successful businesses. That's such a big shift, big change as well. So what was the moment that made you say that it's time for me to change? And how did you have that courage to follow through these changes?
Okay, that's a big question, but I will, I guess, in sort of looking at the bigger picture, there was not one specific moment that I
Mm-mm.
made that decision, because so I was trained as a medical doctor and I worked as a medical practitioner here in Melbourne over 12 and a half years across the public and private sector. But it all really started for me when I experienced my third pregnancy loss. So between my two girls, we have a 5.5 year gap. In that 5 years, I lost 5 pregnancies.
Oh.
So it was a very, I guess, challenging time in my life, but I showed up. I showed up to work. I showed up for my patients. I did everything that I needed to do for my, I guess, to get my body right again for the next pregnancy. But it was very much lose one pregnancy, grieve for 3 months, go again. So it was very much I don't want to say a very strategic thing, but it felt like it was a very, it was very much a do this and then do this next and do this next, kind of time. And I had to get my, I guess, my health back in order to conceive my next child. But I also showed up to work time and time again. And I would go from sitting in the doctor's chair, speaking to a patient at say 4 p.m. and at 4:30 p.m. I run across the road to get bloods done as a patient who's just lost a pregnancy. And it's so crazy to think that that's how I functioned for months and years. And because of I worked in Melbourne City, and I had the medical clinic was opposite the hospital I worked in. So yes, it was convenient for me, but people didn't know what I was doing. I would run during lunch breaks to get a scan, to be told that nope, there's no heartbeat. Run back, see the next patient.
Oh.
Next morning, 7:30, I'm on my way to go get bloods done before I get into clinic to see my first patient at 8:30, and then to get a call at 9 o'clock and say, yeah, no, things are not looking good. And it was so, I think when you're in it, you're so tunnel vision. You just do what you think is the next best thing. Until I got to my third pregnancy loss, which was probably the most traumatic of all 5 losses, because it was an ectopic pregnancy. So the pregnancy was in my tubes. And initially, all was going well. I had all the pregnancy symptoms. I was, ready to share the news. And we got to about 8 weeks, and I went in for my scan, which was just meant to be a regular scan. And even that was such a miracle, because my scan was actually booked for 2 days later. But I had a few cancellations in my own sort of day. And I called my clinic manager and said, look, there are cancellations. So I'm going to go for my medical appointment and I'll come in the afternoon. I called my obstetrician's office and they said, yep, come in. It's just 2 days earlier. That's okay. We can fit you in. I get there and then they can't find the pregnancy. And so then we go on to further investigate, and it was an ectopic. And I had to get treatment immediately, because an ectopic pregnancy can really go badly in quite quickly. And so that, I would say, was kind of my turning point, because at that point I had to go through the whole medical process of evacuating that pregnancy safely. And it was a lot of grief. There was a lot of grief in that pregnancy, because I almost felt like, firstly, I could have lost my life Secondly, I could have lost that tube, which means my chances of pregnancy is reduced again. And my body was just suffering. I was burnt out. So in that time frame, I started to really find ways to cope with my grief. And for me, by default, when I'm going through a period of grief, I go silent. I get quiet, I go back into my cave, and I just sit there. And I think for me at that point, journaling was a big thing. I would journal for hours on end, and I already had a baby at that point. I already had my first girl, and I would sit and journal for a good 2-3 hours after I put her to bed at night, and pray through my tears. I would have, I'm a Christian woman, so my Bible would be tear stained. My journal was tear stained. And I would just sit there, journal, pray, go to bed, and repeat the next day. So it felt very much of like a sacred little thing that I used to do. And little by little, I started to see myself come alive again. And I think at that point, interestingly, so this is going back like 2015, 2014 was when I had the ectopic pregnancy. I felt the need to share my story online. Because in the medical world, interestingly, although miscarriages and pregnancy losses are common, you can still feel like you're the only one going through it. It is very lonely and isolating. You lose a pregnancy, and I had some great medical professionals that would, take time to sit with me and just talk to me. But I'm talking 10 to 15 minutes, right? Or they will give you a brochure and go, if you need some support, here's who you can call. And I can tell you, in that moment of loss, maybe some people will pick up the phone, but for many, we just sit in silence and we grieve. And so in that time when I was journaling and writing, I really felt like sharing my story. So I started a blog, and that was early days of WordPress. So I just quickly put together a blog, and I started sharing my writing and my my story of coping with grief, and how I still picture myself as a mom of these unborn babies. And I started to attract a community of women who also shared similar stories. And one of my blogs were actually picked up by a magazine in the US. And they asked me if I could write an article around secondary infertility, because for me, that was what it was put down to, because I had my first baby without any challenges. So I was what they would classify as secondary infertility. And which, again, a lot of people, when you tell them, oh, I'm trying to get pregnant again, they'll be like, you've done it once, I'm sure it's a matter of time, you're going to be fine, Or they would say something like, you've already got one baby, just be happy with it, it's such a blessing. But when you want to be pregnant again, it's that doesn't help. It doesn't help. So that's how I started my writing journey, because they asked if I could contribute to their written publication, and that's what I did. And I continued to blog, and slowly that just became something I did. And I used to write for different blog sites, and got invited to share my story in different platforms, through podcasting, through live events, things like that. So for me, it wasn't the one turning point, but there was a lady in the US that reached out to me, and she said, Monica, I've read your blogs. I know your story. I know, you've gone through this process. Is it possible that you support me and coach me on how to get through my grief journey? And this was where it kind of all the penny dropped, right? Because she said, I would love to pay you for your coaching services. And I was like, coaching services? and you want to pay me? Like, right? And I think that's when I went, wait, hang on. I'm just another woman here wanting to share my story. And I was building a lot of relationships online. And this was when, building friendships online was a safe thing to do. Like there was no red flags, you wouldn't be like cautious about things. You would just go, oh, she means well, she's reaching out. Yeah, and that's how it all started. So that's how I slowly looked into coaching, and I started to upskill in my coaching. I got a few certifications and really started to see the value of coaching, writing, and that's how they became two arms of the business that I now run.
So that writing and coaching, those two are your business, and that's how you shift from being a medical doctor to now.
Yeah.
It's not only a business, and it's kind of like an accidental business.
Yeah, it's almost like an accidental thing. And, now I coach in behavior change and getting through seasons in life where things are hard and we have to put things in place to support our well-being. But again, that was such an evolution because it didn't just, people who make career changes, sometimes we want to know the end point. We want to know exactly what am I going into, but it doesn't quite work like that. And in a way, it was okay for me because I was still working as a medical practitioner and I had an overlap of almost 6 years. And 2019, 2020 was when I really decided, okay, I think it's time to move more into my coaching and give more hours of my time into the business. And that was just, again, a very gradual. So I kind of dipped my toe in, my personality is also that I want to make sure I know what I'm doing before I go out there and tell people that I can help them. And I think it's very much that medical training as well. Like you can't just go out there and help people without knowing what you're doing. So I guess I bring with me that, understanding that if I'm going to help someone, I must know what I'm doing. I must at least have done it for my personal life because lived experience always carries greater weight.
Yep.
And I have the skills to support you. So those are kind of, where I set in for a few years. And then when I was comfortable enough to go, all right, this is where I can support you. And I can be confident that you're going to get the results. That's when I decided, all right, it's time for me to, put myself in this space.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that very vulnerable moments of your life. And I really can't imagine how was that time for you. And it's being on journaling is actually kind of your outlet of getting your mind, because instead of staying in the loop, you choose to write and journal all your feelings and your emotion. And good on you for putting out there for people to resonate with you, because like you say, people might not be dialing the number to get the help. And for you to do that, it's very powerful for many people out there who like suffer silently.
Yeah. And I think that's essentially where I find I can bring more value to people. And along the way, I also unfortunately was diagnosed with an autoimmune chronic illness, that being type 1 diabetes. And it came out of nowhere. It just 3 months I was sick and boom, the diagnosis. So again, it's one of those chronic illnesses that if someone looks at me, they won't even know that I live with it. It's a very invisible chronic illness, as many chronic illnesses are. And it's again one of those things that people can suffer in silence, and I did that for years. I'm 12 years into living with this chronic illness, and in the last 2 years I've had to make a lot of changes to my lifestyle, my behaviors, my habits. And again, this is where I guess I'm very passionate when I work with my clients to make them understand that yes, we all have a challenge, whether it's personal relationships, health challenges, financial, career challenges, children, you name it, right? Like everyone is a walking storybook with lots of goods and lots of downs. But we can, to a certain degree, make some changes to support our well-being. And that is something I wish, going back that many years ago, someone shared with me, because I was burnt out from, going through the multiple health challenges and trying to conceive. Not only that, when we were finally blessed to have our second girl, she was born in 2017, May. And in about October, November, I went through a season of burnout. So my body was holding on to all of the grief, all the trauma of pregnancy and pregnancy losses and all of that. And I could not understand how I could be going through a period of burnout if I'm holding a newborn baby, this baby that I have prayed for and been wanting for years. And yes, I mean, there might be an overlap of being a new mom again, sleepless nights, exhaustion, feeding endlessly. But I knew that my body was also just in such a state. And I wish someone could tell me that I don't have to hit the gym 3 times a week to see changes. I wish someone would have just told me, if you can just go out and sit down in nature for 10 minutes, that would do you a lot of good. And these are the things that I often share with my clients, because I work with clients who are struggling, whether with health challenges, relationships, changing careers. I have leaders who are navigating, difficult conversations. And I say to them, you don't have to do the one big thing, but you can do the small little things. Do it every single day. If you're going to journal every single day. And again, this is something I did. I didn't know that it was actually helping me until I got to a point when I went, oh, I guess the journaling is helping me. It is helping me cope with my grief and process my grief, right? So, and that is why I think it's for me, the work that I do now, yes, it's got a lot of my lived experience, but I've tried and tested a lot of things on myself as well, So I don't just go and tell my clients, eat an avocado a day. Like, I actually test it out on myself, tweak it, and then I go, all right, you don't need the whole avocado a day. Can you take 1 scoop of avocado a day? Because sometimes we think we have to do this big, massive thing, but we don't have to. Just like my career change, I dabbled in it little by little. I think I had like 1 client a month for years before I went, oh, okay, I'm good now. I think I can do this. And I know not everyone is blessed to have that, the 2 options, but sometimes I think we make it, we put too much pressure on ourselves as well.
Yeah, wow, that's such a big journey that you have, big story as well. And thank you so much, because I can imagine for you to been through so many traumatic experience, and being a new mom at that time, it's definitely a very difficult moment. It's not easy to become a new mom, and for you to experience that, and to your body as well, and to your emotion, and you have that lived experience, like you say, and you successfully, that's why you got out from that situation, for you to come over that, and you got that experience, you got that tools that help you overcome those challenges, and definitely you got many to offer to your clients for sure.
Yeah.
And I know that initially you were helping your client to overcome the grief of losing their unborn baby, and now you're actually helping a lot with people that maybe it's not only losing a child, but there are a lot of things in their life as well. And one thing that you talk about, and I think is so important, which I wanted to know as well, which is building habits that actually stick. That's so good. And a lot of people do something and they are like not keeping with their habits. So what are some of the biggest mindset shift, especially for women that need to make this trying to change their habit, and some of them that like experience that tried and failed before? What are some of the mindset, or how did you make that stick?
Yeah, so it's so interesting because I was once that person, right, that created a lot of habits that didn't stick. So, and I used to get really frustrated with myself because I'm a very driven person. And, even when I went through medical school, I had very good, I guess, I was very disciplined, as you need to be, especially going through like exam time and, all of that. So for 6 years, I was so driven, so disciplined. I did everything that was required of me. And maybe that was my downfall. Maybe I was so disciplined, I got burnt out. Who knows, right? But in my young adult life, I remember getting so frustrated because I would say to myself, all right, today we're going to go to the gym or we're going to go for a run, and it wouldn't stick. I'm going to eat well. I'm going to eat, better. Wouldn't stick. And so it got to a point where, when we get to sort of December and everyone's like, oh, let's set goals and let's, do a vision board, I would just basically dismiss the whole thing because I'm like, what's the point? Like, I'm not going to stick, to any of these. What's the point of just putting nice pictures on the board and, looking at it? So I can't remember when exactly, but I think it was around 20, sort of in between when I was wanting to get my health back again after losing multiple pregnancies. Might have been around 2015 or so, where I had a little bit of I guess like a breakthrough moment where I figured, hang on, okay, don't seem to be able to do all these things. How about I just take one thing and just do that one thing for the next 6 months. And for me at that point, I was actually working on a book, and that book isn't published. It's still sitting in this laptop, or maybe in my previous laptop. But anyway, that was kind of like my experiment. And I set myself to write for that book every day for 30 minutes. And initially it was, I was very excited. I was like, yeah, I'm going to write this book. And so every day I would set the time and do for 30 minutes. And then I think I got to like week 5 or week 6, and I could feel myself going, oh, I don't know, where's this book going? It's not going anywhere. I don't know. I feel like I'm always rewriting a new story. And it was a fiction. So, but I persisted. I just kept doing it. And then I moved from 30 minutes a day to 40 minutes because I noticed I was actually in the flow and I was just doing it. And then it became 45 minutes, and then it became an hour. And so then something clicked for me. I was like, okay, so if I only start with 30 minutes and I just keep doing it at 30 minutes, and I did that for weeks, 30 minutes for weeks. And then it got to an hour and a half. And I was like, okay, so I actually don't have to block out a whole 1 hour. All I need to do is block out 30 minutes. And if I do extra, it's a bonus. If I don't, that's okay, because I've got to my 30 minutes. So I got to, I think, month 5 or month 6, and I had hit about 50,000 words or something like that, which is kind of around the mark where you go, okay, I can now finish. Because it's like usually people get stuck when you're writing a book in that half or slightly after halfway mark. And I was like, all right, I'm going to finish this. And I got to 70,000 words, right? So that was a moment for me, because I realized that I only need to do a little bit of something. And it was also good because I was just focused on the one thing. So every day I'll go, all right, I'm just going to do the 30 minutes, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the evening. And again, it depended on my working day. So then I parked that whole idea aside and the book. And then I had my second child. and went through that whole season of being new mom again and replenishing my health. And in 2018, I was working with a client who's based in the UK. And it was, I think, 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock when we finished, some bizarre hour because of the time zone. But the house was quiet. Everyone was in bed. 2 a.m. I shut my laptop. And then I get this word drop into my head, cultivate. So the word cultivate. And I remember praying, asking God, what is this word? Like, why are you giving me this word at 2 o'clock in the morning? Like, what's this supposed to mean? And I get a picture of a plant that's just, flourishing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat with the word, and I remember going, okay, this is something I need to pay attention to. So I was on the couch. I moved myself to the dining table as though it was like a 8 a.m. day, pen and paper, and I wrote down the word cultivate going downwards, and every alphabet came a word. So C being curiosity, clarity, U unpack, L learn. So it just went on, right? And I just got these words dropping into my heart. So I write down the whole word cultivate, and then I realized, just like any behavior, you have to cultivate it. It's a process. It's a journey. And then I started to, of course, reflect back on my life and how I had come from, a medical world. And see, medical and coaching, it's not the same, but there are some strengths or skills that I've brought from my medical days. Because I remember my patients used to say to me, you are such a good listener, but at the same time, you are such a good teacher. Because when my patients used to come to me, I don't just give them a brochure and go, here you go home and read it. I don't do that. I talk to them about the brochure, what to expect, what's your treatment, what you're going to expect, who needs to care for you. I give them a good understanding. So my patients used to go, my goodness, Monica, you sure listen, but you also teach. And so in coaching, there's a lot of listening that we have to do, but there's also a lot of hand holding. I want to walk alongside you. I'm not before you or behind you, but I'm going to walk alongside you. And when you're ready, you're going to let go of my hand and you're going to go off. And so for me, that word cultivate was such a, I guess, like a light bulb in my coaching space. And so I sat with that. That was, I think, 2018 and 2019. And then I wrote a book about the whole framework. Again, it's set on my laptop, and I used the same concept of cultivating this book. Because to write a book, to write 40,000 words, you do have to do bit by bit every day.
Yeah.
And so I wrote the book and released the book in 22. And since then have released 2 others. So for me, if you talk about what is the mindset shift, it's bit by bit makes a habit. And it's become such a thing I say to my clients when I run masterclasses, when I talk. I always say it's the bit by bit makes a habit. You can't skip the bit by bit because that will only give you the HA of the habit. It will only give you the HA. Right? It's the bit that you need. You need the bit by bit to complete that word, habit.
Oh wow.
Right?
I love that. Ooh, I
So-
have goosebumps listening to you.
Yeah, trust me, I had goosebumps when I realized that for myself. So I always say that. And it's funny because when I say that, people just take it as just another nice sentence. And then I share it with them and they go, oh, Monica, now I cannot see the word habit the same way again. I'm like, right? Because no one talks about habits being a process. We all, and look, I'm guilty for it as well. I used to say early in the years when I was coaching, I was, oh, you need to do this, you need to make this a habit. But how? How do you make this a habit? Because if it was that simple, we will all be great at it.
Yes.
No one told me when I was, trying to get my well-being back that go to bed earlier. And I, well-meaning people will say, go to bed earlier. Okay, but my bedtime is at 11. Now, how do I go to bed earlier? They say, just go to bed at 9:30, turn off the lights, turn off the TV, get to bed at 9:30. Look, it doesn't work because our bodies are so used to that 11 p.m. bedtime. Our brains are so wired towards that 11 a.m. bedtime. Our nervous system is responding to that. So to go to bed at 9:30, it doesn't work. But how about we go to bed at 10:50?
In between.
And do that for 7 days. Then go to bed at 10:30, and then 10, and then 9:45. Maybe that's going to give you a bit more success. And so it's the bit by bit, whether you're building a habit or breaking a habit. Even when clients work with me and say, how do I break this habit? Bit by bit. Right? You can't, and as a medical practitioner, I used to go around and see my patients on the ward, and patients who are not meant to be smoking or doing things that they know is wrong, and we say, just stop it, you gotta just stop it, Mr. So-and-so, and now you think about it, and when I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like how, telling someone to just stop doing things, it's so easy, but how? So again, you got to do bit by bit. Yes, we can do, certain behaviors have to stop like immediately. But with little things like, eating the wrong food or snacking too often or not, sticking to your health plan, it's the bit by bit. And along the way, part of me also learning more around behavior and why do some people stick to it? Why do some people not stick to it? It's got to do a lot with our nervous system as well. So if our nervous system has been programmed to do things a certain way, any change will alarm our nervous system because our nervous system doesn't like uncertainty. It will see change as sound the alarm. There's something not quite right here because you used to eat that bar of chocolate. Why aren't you eating that bar of chocolate anymore? Alarm. So when I work with clients in this space, I often say, that's your nervous system just doing its job. But now we got to rewire that. We got to retrain your nervous system. We got to show your nervous system it is okay. It is safe to eat one little tiny piece of avocado as opposed to a block of chocolate. But it's it's a process. And again, it's the bit by bit makes a habit. So for me, that is kind of the mindset that I try and encourage my clients to think on. And another, I guess, one big thing that I often say to my client is, no one can force you to make change. No one can force you to create a new behavior or break a bad habit. You must want it for yourself. So if you're doing it for someone else, then I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, you may not stick to it. I can show you all the systems and strategies, and that's something I sort of show my clients how to get past some of those. But often we are creatures that will make changes when the pain is greater, right? So we want to move away from pain. So we are looking for, how can I make this better for me? And I think when we understand that about ourselves, why is this so painful? Why do I want to move away from this behavior? What is the cost of me not making this behavior change? That's when most people go, yeah, I can see now it's actually costing me my relationship, my health, all that sort of thing. So when I'm coaching my clients, I take them through the Cultivate framework, because every alphabet is something for them to sit with, think on, and then of course I give them a practical tool to get past that. And it's a journey, it's a process. You have to cultivate that behavior. You can't just go do this,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Everyone listening, you guys have to appreciate how amazing Monica is. She's not only having being the coach with the mindset, but she have a medical background that know your body well, and then she can definitely give you a way to stick to your habits and make the changes that you want. So I'm very well aware of the time, Monica. And I wanted to ask you, the next question is that, who are the clients that you're currently helping? Like
Yeah.
do you help only women? So I know that you're also doing corporate speech as well. So who are the clients that can come to look for you?
Yeah. So I actually work, interestingly, with such a wide variety of people, and I do work with male and female. Currently, I find myself working with a lot of women who are leaders, so in corporate leadership, who may be going through a season of burnout or might be going through some sort of change in their life. And when women are in this, 40s, 50s, 60s, this is when they're climbing the corporate leadership, but they're also dealing with so many other things like health changes, body changes, relationship changes, because a lot of women in this space have grown kids. And when kids are leaving the home, that brings up a lot of emotions. So there's change in their parenting, there's change in what is expected of them, and then change in their own personal experience of leadership. So I do work with a lot of those late women in that group. I also work a lot with women who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, who are beginning to realize that we have to look after our health and well-being. And this is something that I'm going through myself. I'm in my mid-40s, and I'm beginning to see that as well. I need to pay attention to my well-being and not just losing weight, because that's a nice thing to be in a good weight. But we actually have a deeper reason for why that's important, and that's longevity of health. So that as women, we can age well, we can look after our physical, mental, and spiritual health. So I tend to work a lot with women who are moms, and they've gone past that childbearing, maybe carrying some excess weight from that season of life, but now also starting to see their changes, the health changes. So beginning to work with a lot of women in that space. And the third group that I work with is with women who are, groups of individuals coming through the corporate side, because I'm also a strengths profile accredited practitioner. So I tend to work with groups of individuals who are making career changes. Because interestingly enough, when we are going through career changes, we also have to make changes to our behaviors and habits. We have to think differently, we have to do things differently, and we have to communicate differently. So I couple that with the strengths profile assessment. And that's a powerful tool to give us an insight into someone's strengths. And then we build behaviors and habits to highlight those strengths. Yeah, so it's, I think behavior change and habits is very broad and can apply to many groups of people. But these are the three groups that I tend to work most with. And, these are driven men and women who want to make changes. They just need the tools, and they just need someone to be really honest with them. And my clients love that about me, because I've, again, worked in the medical, been burnt out with long hours of work, weekend work. So I understand when someone says to me, I actually don't have time to rest. I say to my clients, I hear you loud and clear, but I'm going to show you how you can still go for that 10-minute walk, even though you don't have time on your calendar. So, again, it's that lived experience, my working experience, but I also want to make sure that they feel seen and heard, but I must do my job and show them that there is a better way.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are the groups. Yeah.
That's amazing. There's so many people out there that falls into that group that needed your help. I love that you got so many to offer to these people. So for those of you who are listening, I believe that any one of you need something to stick with your habits. That I think that's a lot of challenge for many people. So how can we find you online, Monica?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at monica.d.r. That's my handle. I do a lot of I share a lot of resources on Substack. So that's my full name, Monica Devanand .substack.com, and or my email, which is monica@drmonicadr.com.
I will include all this link in the description. Whoever would like to get connected with Monica, make sure you reach out to Monica, and I believe that she got lots to share with you as well. Thank you so much, Monica, for sharing your wisdom with us and your time. I got so many golden nuggets from the conversation with you. You got so much to offer, and I got a lot more questions to ask, but because of the time, before we wrap up today, Monica, what is the one piece of advice that you can give to other women out there?
Okay, this is the same advice I give myself. So it's not a well-constructed sentence, but this is how it goes. We are all going to have good days and bad days. And on the good days, lean into all those good habits that you've built. On the bad days, pick one habit, just one small little habit. Take 10 minutes and go and do that habit. Because at the end of the day, you are going to feel so much better just doing that 10-minute habit because you're investing back into yourself. So that's something I tell myself on my bad days, and there are many of them. And for me, that 10 minutes means just putting on my shoes and going out for a 10-minute walk. And it always does me better than sitting on the couch and feeling sorry for myself. And there's nothing wrong about feeling sorry for yourself, by the way. Okay, so, but yeah, pick that one thing and go do it.
Oh, I love that. Wow, that's so powerful. I love that. Thank you so much, Monica, for that reminders. And of course, we all have bad days and good days. And when you're having that bad days, remember what Monica told you. Thank you so much, Monica, for your time.
You're
really
so welcome.
enjoy our conversation together. And I'm looking forward to hear more, maybe get you again next time to share more.
Thank you so much, Vivienne. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll see you next time, Monica. Bye for now.
Bye.